So, welcome back to another episode. In this episode, we're trying to figure out what's the best passage on God's Word. Well, I think it's Psalm 119, and I wish I could read the whole psalm, but it's like 150 verses long, a little long to read. But I love this psalm, so I'm going to read bits and pieces. And I can hope you can see that God's word is full of grandeur and teaching and inspiration. It's just a fun book to read. That's why I do this channel. It's all about God's word. So I hope we can enjoy the scriptures together.
Psalm 119, verses about God's Word. Verse 1. Blessed are those whose ways are blameless, who walk according to Yahweh's law. Verse 2. Blessed are those who keep his statutes, who seek him with their whole heart. Verse 5. Oh, that my ways were steadfast, to obey your statutes. Verse 7. I will give thanks to you with uprightness of heart, when I learn your righteous judgments. Verse 8. I will observe your statutes. Don't utterly forsake me. Verse 9. How can a young man keep his way pure? By living according to your word. Verse 11. I have hidden your word in my heart, that I might not sin against you. Verse 12. Blessed are you, Yahweh. Teach me your statutes. Verse 15. I will meditate on your precepts and consider your ways. Verse 16. I will delight myself in your statutes. I will not forget your word. Verse 18. Open my eyes, that I may see wondrous things out of your law. Verse 24. Indeed, your statutes are my delight and my counselors. Verse 27. Let me understand the teaching of your precepts, then I will meditate on your wondrous works. Verse 28. My soul is weary with sorrow. Strengthen me according to your word. Verse 31. I cling to your statutes, Yahweh. Don't let me be disappointed. Verse 32. I run in the path of your commandments, for you have set my heart free. Verse 36. Turn my heart toward your statutes, not towards selfish gain. Verse 37. Turn my eyes away from looking at worthless things. Revive me in your ways. Verse 42. So I will have an answer for him who reproaches me, for I trust in your word. Verse 47. I will delight myself in your commandments, because I love them. Verse 48. I reach out my hands for your commandments, which I love. I will meditate on your statutes. Verse 50. This is my comfort in my affliction, for your word has revived me. Verse 51. The arrogant mock me excessively, but I don't swerve from your law. Verse 56. This is my way, that I keep your precepts. Verse 58. I sought your favor with my whole heart. Be merciful to me according to your word. Verse 60. I will hurry and not delay to obey your commandments. Verse 63. I am a friend of all those who fear you, of those who observe your precepts. Verse 64. The earth is full of your loving kindness, Yahweh. Teach me your statutes. Verse 66. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I believe in your commandments. Verse 67. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I observe your word. Verse 68. You are good and do good. Teach me your statutes. Verse 71. It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I may learn your statutes. Verse 72. The law of your mouth is better to me than thousands of pieces of gold and silver. Verse 73. Your hands have made me and formed me. Give me understanding, that I may learn your commandments. Verse 77. Let your tender mercies come to me, that I may live, for your law is my delight. Verse 89. Yahweh, your word is settled in heaven forever. Verse 90. Your faithfulness is to all generations. You have established the earth, and it remains. Verse 91. Your laws remain to this day, for all things serve you. Verse 96. I have seen a limit to all perfection, but your commands are boundless. Verse 97. How I love your law! It is my meditation all day. Verse 98. Your commandments make me wiser than my enemies, for your commandments are always with me. Verse 99. I have more understanding than all my teachers, for your testimonies are my meditation. Verse 100. I understand more than the aged, because I have kept your precepts. Verse 101. I have kept my feet from every evil way, that I might observe your word. Verse 103. How sweet are your promises to my taste, more than honey to my mouth. Verse 104. Through your precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. Verse 105. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light for my path. Verse 112. I have set my heart to perform your statutes forever, even to the end. Verse 113. I hate double-minded men, but I love your law. Verse 114. You are my hiding place and my shield. I hope in your word. Verse 115. Depart from me, you evildoers, that I may keep the commandments of my God. Verse 116. Uphold me according to your word, that I may live. Let me not be ashamed of my hope. Verse 124. Deal with your servant according to your loving kindness. Teach me your statutes. Verse 125. I am your servant. Give me understanding, that I may know your testimonies. Verse 126. It is time to act, Yahweh, for they break your law. Verse 127. Therefore I love your commandments more than gold, yes, more than pure gold. Verse 128. Therefore I consider all of your precepts to be right. I hate every false way. Verse 129. Your testimonies are wonderful. Therefore my soul keeps them. Verse 130. The entrance of your words gives light. It gives understanding to the simple. Verse 133. Establish my footsteps in your word. Don't let any iniquity have dominion over me. Verse 136. Streams of tears run down my eyes because they don't observe your law. Verse 141. I am small and despised. I don't forget your precepts. Verse 142. Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness. Your law is truth. Verse 151. You are near, Yahweh. All your commandments are truth. Verse 152. Of old I have known from your testimonies that you have founded them forever. Verse 155. Salvation is far from the wicked, for they don't seek your statutes. Verse 160. All of your words are truth. Every one of your righteous ordinances endures forever. Verse 162. I will rejoice at your word, as one who finds great plunder. Verse 163. I hate and abhor falsehood. I love your law. Verse 164. 7 times a day I praise you, because of your righteous ordinances. Verse 165. Those who love your law have great peace. Nothing causes them to stumble. Verse 166. I have hoped for your salvation, Yahweh. I have done your commandments. Verse 169. Let my cry come before you, Yahweh. Give me understanding according to your word. Verse 171. Let my lips utter praise, for you teach me your statutes. Verse 172. Let my tongue sing of your word, for all your commandments are righteous. Verse 175. Let my soul live, that I may praise you. Let your ordinances help me. Verse 176. I have gone astray, like a lost sheep. Seek your servant, for I don't forget your commandments. May God add blessing on the reading of his word.
So, no real conclusion. Let me just finish by showing this movie about this drive, which I found quite interesting. And let me just give you my top 3 verses from Psalm 119. I actually had to memorize this, or I got to memorize this when I was just a first beginning Christian. So these meant a lot to me. Hopefully, they'll mean a lot to you. Let's enjoy together. So here's our new modern expression. Man does not live by bread alone. And this means there are more important things in life than just your daily needs. This comes from Matthew 4:4. But he answered, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of God's mouth." This originally came from Deuteronomy 8:3. He humbled you, allowed you to be hungry, and fed you with manna, which you didn't know, neither did your fathers know, that he might teach you that a man does not live by bread alone, but man lives by every word that proceeds out of Yahweh's mouth. Man does not live by bread alone.